a match coming up between Nigel Benn and Michael Watson, which is, you could call, quote, a grudge fight, unquote. There's a lot of interest being stirred up, and they are both highly rated fighters in the various ratings for the World Championship at that weight, and therefore it figures the British public is looking for revenge, and Harold Graham just having failed very narrowly, they would like to see the winner of Watson and Benn get a shot at the title. And I think that to date, I mean, Benn might turn out to be the greatest fighter of all time. But at this point of time, Watson has proved himself far more than Benn because he's been boxing in a better league. He's been fighting better opponents.
I mean, there's a lot more at stake than just the Commonwealth title. I mean, what can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, I mean, it's pride. You know, I haven't got the recognition that I deserve. You know, I've been very underestimated. And I want to go into this fight. Nobody's seen what I can really do. And I mean, you know, and this is a great opportunity for me to go out there and box to my full potential. Ben knows the score before he even enters the ring that he's not fighting nobody special. He can give it all a big mouth about he's going to do this and do that, and he knows he's going to do it. Because at the end of the day, the opposition that he's going in with is very weak. But I'm sure that Ben knows for a fact, if he's going to go in there to underestimate me, it's going to be the biggest mistake ever.
I don't think he's ready for a fight with Bannon McCullum if he can't beat Ben. And therefore, there would be no point. And a direct title fight with Nunn or McCullum, without him having beaten somebody like Nigel Benn, would not even be as lucrative as the fight is with Ben, financially.
First of all, if Watson was ready for a world title shot, he would have gone straight there. Because if he thought he was ready for a world title, he wouldn't dare mix it with me. You know, because now I'm going to ruin his career when he mixes with me on the 21st.
22 professional fights and you've had 22 knockouts. Does it not annoy you, get on your nerves that people still say that the fighters you fought have been nothing?
Well, it does annoy me, yeah. But you know, after I dispose of Watson, then they realise that, you know, I'm for real. You know, we're not talking about just the punching pound, the heart, the determination, the will to win. Everything's there. It's like winning the world title. It's maintaining it. Like I said, I want to retire world champion, multi-millionaire at the age of 28. And the way I'm going now, I'm on course. And I ain't going to change it for nobody. I'm going to do it when I'm ready in my own time.
I use Nigel Benn. Nigel Benn uses me. We work very, very well together. He is now on the road to becoming the biggest sporting superstar this country has ever produced. Suddenly, from having nothing, he seems to have come into your camp, and suddenly he's got a Porsche and he's looking for a £250,000 house. What's been the change? How has it drastically changed so quickly? He's just getting paid what he's worth. You know, his media profile has been raised. People thought before he was a hooligan when he ran around with that haircut. The public perception of Nigel Benn was totally different. It may be good for boxers, but Nigel Benn is an entertainer.
Only because I give the public like what they want to see. They don't want to see a 10-round boring fight. They want to see like 5-6 minutes of X-rated violence. That's what they come to see, and they know they're going to get it when they come and watch me.
And what the critics of Nigel Benn's opponent should understand is this: we're now in the most rapidly advancing technological era ever known to man. It's the age of television. You need to be good once in appearance on TV. Your earning power goes up considerably.
Predictions?
Predictions. I believe it'll go 4 or 5 rounds, but you know, he's really going to get hurt. I'd say, you know, I'm going to hit him so many times with a left, he's going to be crying for a right. I'm telling you, he's in serious trouble. I mean, he's really been bad enough. You know, because I'm really glad the fight come on, because, you know, I don't want him slagging me off in the other corner, and he says, he looks me in the eyes and I look away. I guarantee when I see you on the 21st, Watson, you ain't going to have no eyes to look out of. I'm telling you, you are in serious trouble.
Mike, are you good enough to win?
You shall see. Believe me, I mean, as I said before, this is a big break for me now. Nobody has seen what I can really do, right? And I'm ready to go, and I'm ready to go to show everybody who the main man is. You know, fair enough for me. People make a big thing out of Nigel Benn. But let me tell you this, Nigel Benn's going to be in for a painful experience. He's going to be in for an experience he's never going to forget.
I'm not in no hurry to fight Watts or Nigel Benn. If I have to, then I will. But right now, I'd like to more structure my program around those guys.
Potential earnings are high for the winner, but perhaps not quite as high as first hoped. The world middleweight scene is full of top opposition, where more than clever marketing is needed to succeed. But in the who's bad stakes, it's all part of the hype of boxing in the 80s.
Well, there it is then, the 1st Battalion Royal Regiment Fusiliers that Nigel Benn served with almost, well, 4 years, 256 days to be exact. He hasn't kept Michael Watson waiting too long. There was some problem that Mickey Duff is looking at his watch, and if he's more than 2 minutes late, Benn is getting out the ring. He's threatened that before the contest. Mickey Duff, there he is, attending the ring, one of the most knowledgeable, experienced people in the fight game. And there comes Benn now, and well, I thought it was going to be the Jackson lookalikes, but what a protective party he's got here. But wait until you see Bren's garb. I mean, this really is show business with blood, if ever I've seen it. Quite a flattering rating, really. Well, I've done my share of covering fights around the world, but I mean, the atmosphere here really is unreal. About 6,700 have packed into this super tent in Finsbury Park. Just a left hook there from the one-time famous Haringey Arena in London. And then I did warn you about that haircut. Apparently he was in the chair 4 hours getting that treated today. Well, he always boasts a good fight then, and to be fair, he's backed up his boasts. Now this fella, underrated in many ways. Only 1 loss, 21 wins, 1 draw. A good boxer, saw him way back in the Boys Club Championships, and always been such an accomplished performer, Watson. Incredible noise here. He stopped 9 of his last 10, by the way, Watson, so he's on a winning roll as well. One of those was a draw. Now that draw was in Las Vegas, so he's had the experience of fighting away from home. I don't think, I mean, in terms of mileage, he actually lives nearer to Finsbury Park than Nigel Benn does. But the bookmakers, well, they make Benn 3-1 on favourite, officially advertised. And you can have 7-1 if Watson can stop Benn or knock him out. And Watson is a 9-4 to win on any way, points on. Well, Jim, you've, of course, been in there as well as out here. I mean, it's sort of, you could cut this atmosphere with a knife here. It's incredible.
Yeah, the atmosphere is tremendous. This is the fight we've all been looking forward to. We've wanted to see Benn moved up in class. Well, that's happening tonight. And
here's MC Mike Goodall.
Welcome to the Super Tent in Finsbury Park in the heart of London. Your sponsors this evening are Carlsberg Brewery Limited, and your promoter this evening is Frank Maloney Promotions. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the main event of the evening. Frank Maloney Promotions presents a contest of 12 3-minute rounds to decide the middleweight championship of the Commonwealth. In the blue corner, from Islington, North London, with a record of 23 fights, 21 wins, 17 by KO, the challenger, Michael Watson! In the red corner, from Ilford, East London, with a record of 22 fights, 22 wins, all by KO, the defending champion, the Dark Destroyer, Nigel Benn! At the weigh-in today, Benn scaled 11 stone, 5 3/4 pounds. Watson, 11 stone, 6 pounds. Your officials for this contest, appointed by the British Boxing Board of Control, The timekeeper from Sutton, Mr. Tommy Rice. The referee from Wolverhampton, Mr. John Coyle.
So as the referee, John Coyle from Wolverhampton, one of the star-grade referees, calls them together. It's really like sitting on red alert here, waiting for the bomb to explode. We even had the old wartime siren going there when Ben came in the ring. Well, we'll now find out if it's been overplayed or not, but it's one of the hottest domestic matches that I can remember. So I hope they can hear the bell, because it's very difficult for us, and we're only just a few feet away from it. Well, he's come out firing as he said he would, Ben, as he always does in a contest. But he's certainly moved up in grade here now. Can Watson survive the dangerous early round? That seems to be the only concern with his management. Well, there's one thing, Ben can't offer his jaw. He gets a bit slack at times, as we've seen in recent fights. But that's because the opposition hasn't been the class, it hasn't been world ranked as Michael Watson is. And he's doing well by doing that sort of Floyd Patterson peekaboo style there, holding the hands up, Watson. That's the way to try and at least block punches while the danger's around like this. The crowd is just absolutely baying for Ben, aren't they, Jim?
Yeah, well, I thought Watson may have been a bit negative in the opening rounds, especially the opening minute. But he hasn't. He's been on the defensive, he's been on the retreat, but he's not been negative. He's thrown good punches. He's looking at Ben all the way through. He's keeping his own defensive tight. He's coming back with nice plodding little jabs and some nice little hooks.
Bring the arms down anyway. And from training drills, both of them are in tremendous condition. Although Ben really is sparing in his sparring. Well, he's taken some whacks around the side of the head there, Watson, that others have gone down with. A minute to go then in this opening round. We knew it would be explosive. Really sitting on the edge of the seats here, all the benches they've got out in the super tent. Well, it's got to be Ben's round, and the amount of punches landed, but it's been some shrewd defensive stuff by Michael Watson. Will they hear this bell? Glance they had at each other there. You wouldn't call that respect at all, would you? You really wouldn't there. So there they are working in the corner, the regulars, Brian Lynch, and a bit early for the ice pack. Sean Lynch, his son, putting it on there with Ben. He's 25. And there's his rundown then, as I say, all inside the distance. Well, if he's had his share of easy ones or not, which he called Mexican road sweepers, it still takes him doing all inside a total of 41 rounds. And a few old pros working in this corner then. There's his rundown, and he's been in with a slightly better, well, better class fighters than Ben, no question about that, and that was why a lot of people thought maybe the odds were a bit exorbitant. And there's Nicky Duff, who seems to be everywhere, even when he's standing still. So round two. Well, smart tactics, I would have thought, Jim. He covered up well there, Watson.
Yeah, well, Ben's punching power is no secret, obviously. What Watson has based his campaign around keeping his chin out of trouble for the first 3 or 4 rounds. and hopefully when the pace settles down a little bit, he'll be able to go to work. But although he lost the first round, he had a better first round than I expected. He was a bit more positive. He's not giving Ben the fight all his own way. Some nice counters, but still thinking at all times of keeping his chin out of trouble.
Well, he tested himself fully in sparring. He brought the old-timer from America, Wilfred Sipien, over, among others, to spar with Watson. Now we've got to see now, Jim, whether Ben has got any patience in the ring now.
Although Ben doesn't spar too many rounds, his technique's not too bad. He keeps his own forehead nice and low, keeps his chin tucked in, and he has this tremendous power. But this is without doubt the classiest opponent Ben's been in with.
Midway through the second, scheduled for 12, but let's face it, unlikely to go that long. Meanwhile, referee Coyle has managed to stay away and let him get on with it. Good refereeing. Minute to go in the second. And it's Ben piling on this pressure, but smart countering and covering up by Watson. It's obviously a technique that they've worked on with trainer Eric Seacombe and manager Mickey Duff and cornerman Denny Mancini. They've obviously said you've got to tuck up, as they say in the fight trade, early on, and then just open up to let him know you're there every so often. And Ben cannot afford to be contemptuous of Watson. Right above us here in the commentary position. They're really sinking those in, Jim.
Ben got through with that one, Reg. But I think Watson is braced at all times to take punches, so he's taken punches that little bit better than you normally would. But that was a good shot from Ben.
Coming out for the third round then. And Ben won those opening rounds just by the sheer volume of punches. But Tim Watney certainly gave respect for Watson the way he was countering. But he really does lean in with the shots now, Nigel Benn. He refuses to move from that position, Watson, doesn't he? Good cover-up stuff. He doesn't normally box like that, Jim.
No, well, he's forced to box like this. But Ben is standing off those extra couple of inches. And normally when he does that, he's looking for the real powerful shot. He was a little bit reckless with his punching in the first couple of rounds. It was complete pressure, but he wasn't looking. But now he seems to be looking for the target and looking to place the big stuff.
Minute gone in the third round. So by now all those harsh words have been forgotten now, and it's a question of hardness and respect they've got to show to each other now. They both know they can fight and punch a bit. I'm amazed really that he's staying on the ropes like that, Watson, but he's trying to use them to his advantage. Using them perhaps to get a bit of leverage.
Well, I think Watson's doing the right thing. He doesn't want to start backing off from Ben, because then the powerful swings are more liable to catch him. He's better keeping nice and tight, nice and close to Ben, where he has a chance of landing his own counter.
Jim, it's certainly living up now to its expectations, this, isn't it? And going the way we thought it might. but it couldn't be over in a couple of rounds because they're both too much of quality fighters for that to happen.
Yeah, well, this is actually even better than I thought it would be, because I thought Watson would pay Ben a little bit too much respect and maybe go on his bicycle and try to stay out of trouble, but that's not been the case, quite the opposite. He's standing his ground and coming back with as good punches as I've seen him throwing. When Ben stands off those couple of inches, it's giving Watson a chance to land it with a jab. Watson probably has the better jab of the two.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's hard, but surprisingly clean, Jim. I mean, there's been no hitting on the break after the bell, and so far no low punches. At least they've managed to control their fury a little bit.
There hasn't even actually been a clinch. I don't think we've heard the referee tell him to break once. It's been action all the way through, and I think Watson will be quite happy. See here, Watson is always under pressure, but he's coming back with some real beautiful punches, lovely counter punches. He's always in control of his action here. He knows the punches are coming. He's braced and back with these lovely jolting little counter punches. Watson is doing far better at this stage than I thought he would be doing. He is behind, but doing better.
Oh, then the stars are out, aren't they? Wixie and Michelle from EastEnders sitting right behind us here. Quickly spotted the big man himself, Frank Bruno, in the audience. Out for the fourth round then. So there you are, those that predicted those big odds in the first round. It hasn't happened, not yet anyway.
There's another good left hook from Ben. That one certainly stopped Watson in his tracks, but he's taken the punches well.
So you've got to remember that Ben was a good class amateur, although he didn't box internationally. He lost to Rod Douglas, but he won the return. So he wasn't just sort of Johnny come lately who'd learned his boxing in the army. I think he learned his discipline in the army. Oh, now he's started to take punches, and he's trying to ride away from him. He's not protecting himself, Ben. And it's almost as though he's showing contempt for Watson's punches there, Jim.
Well, that's the exact same thing he did with Logan. He seems to lose concentration. He's just waiting to get his own powerful punches back. But that was a stupid thing he did there. And that's all the confidence that Watson's going to need. He knows he can shake Ben. He knows he can drive him back.
Well, now has Watson taken over in the fourth? Oh, well, Ben really just goading Watson on. We'll not be sure until this outcome now.
I can see in Ben's movements that those punches have stunned him. You can see the way his legs are moving. He's not in control here. He is in trouble.
Yeah, bang in trouble now. He's certainly not acting now, I promise you that. And I'm wondering why he's done that. Oh, what a return. He bounced off the ropes there, as he did with Anthony Logan almost. What an incredible fight.
See, even when Ben is almost left for dead, he still has that power. It's so natural to him. He still has the power to knock you out.
Well, they're trying to bludgeon each other's head and spirit at the same time. Inside the minute then for this round. What a comeback. It's hard to believe, Jim, that he was feigning pain there. He was hurt all right then.
Yeah, he was hurt, but just there's so much natural power. Even on his way down, I think Ben could knock an opponent out.
First time he's done any covering up with that crab-like defence there, Ben. And a chance of Nigel all around this tent. And there's the countdown for the end of this round, and they're the farthest point from the bell. I hope they can hear it. What a finish. If either went down, of course, the count would continue. Well, that's one of the most remarkable rounds I've seen. Jim, look at this replay now.
Yeah, well, at this stage, Ben was stunned. You could see in the way his legs were moving that he wasn't in control of his movements. Watson, even when Watson was piling on, looking for the knockout, he was still thinking about defence, which I think actually saw Watson through the round. See there, his hands are back up again. Although Benn's all over the place, you'll see Watson's hands come back up again pretty quickly. Watson knows the danger he has in front of him.
And there it is again now from a different angle. And certainly the head's bouncing about there, isn't it? The new haircut towel piece is really showing, flicking around. But as Jim Watt says, he suddenly collected his senses. I'm not sure if he knew quite where he was then, and then came whipping back. He's done that before, Ben. Out for the fifth. He's now starting to try and open up a bit, Watson. He's got some encouragement, Jim, assuming that he's hurt Ben, but how do you dispirit a fellow like this? I mean, he really he smells danger. He likes living on the edge, Ben, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, I think he took too many chances in the fourth round there. But Watson still knows he has to be careful at all times, even if things look to be going his way. He has to be very, very careful. He's always one punch away from the fight being over. That's usually the sign when a puncher is hurt. He wasn't pushed back, he started going back, but he's still dangerous.
It's good to rely on your power of punch as a fighter, but you've also got to have some good defensive work when you're at the top in the world rankings now. And Ben has got to learn that anyway, whatever the outcome of this now. He's taken a few, well, maybe he can't miss them because Watson's aiming them accurately. What a round again. It just has not eased up at all, has it? It's an incredible fight, Jim.
Yeah, I don't remember a more exciting domestic fight in a long time since we've seen action like this. It's non-stop, every second of every round.
It's sort of as though one's trying to impose his will on the other one as much as their skill and power.
Well, if questions were asked of Ben's chin after the Logan fight, I think he's answered them tonight, because twice it's looked as though he's been on the verge of being knocked out, and he's come back to take control of the action again. Now, I don't know if this is a bit of acting here. That didn't look a particularly hard punch, but the Ben looks badly shaken. That didn't look like a hard shot, Reg, but it certainly had an effect.
Well, if it is acting, Jim, it's not good acting. He's hurt all right, the way he buckled there, but he seems as though he's tempting the man on all the time, doesn't he? Say, well, you think you've hurt me, how's this?
Yeah, well, I think he's trying different...
Well, time to get our breath back, isn't it, after that? And certainly these boxers needed the 60-second respite there, and the timekeeper making sure he can hear... I'm sorry, the referee trying to make sure he can hear the bell. So no doubt if you haven't seen Michael Watson before, you're surprised perhaps by his boxing ability. Certainly fight traders or not, because we've seen him since the National Association of Boys Clubs Championships. He's always been a smart mover. But there was one blot on his record. He lost on points to James Cook at Wembley back in '86. Well, coming up to the halfway stage here now, it looks as though it's going to be a grueling slog now. Which one's going to be first to go?
Oh, perfect punch.
He's got caught in the eye there.
Punch, but if he does not go in, the referee will have to stop this fight, Reg. There was nothing wrong with that punch.
No, he got caught in the eye with it, and that's unusual for Ben, really, to back away. The man who thrives on his toughness, and sometimes toughness is not related to winning in this game. Oh, he's gone. So, the big hitter has been hit in the 6th round, and the way he backed off from that punch in the eye, it looked as though he wasn't sure he'd been counted out on his feet there, and I don't think the crowd can believe this, and I know that Ben can't, and to be fair to Ben, he's gone straight over to Watson, as if to say, listen, you're the better man, I said those things about you before the fight, but at least you fought like a man, and what a finish, Jim, I tell you, this ring now is really going to be uncontrolled. They're jumping over us here on the monitors, and I do hope the security to keep some of these people out, because it's going to be like a street carnival there, and getting a bit out of hand. The underdog has won, and he's done it in style, Jim.
Well, that looked as though it was the jab that was the finishing punch. Ben, again, was far too reckless. He turned away. It's always a bad sign when a fighter turns away complaining about a punch. There didn't seem anything wrong with the punch. Maybe the side of the glove caught him in the eye. But it seemed to be a jab that finished off. See, he turned away here. Now, that is always bad news when a fighter does that. But he come firing back shortly after this with the usual lethal punches. But then what seemed to be a jab just finished it.
He was almost sold out, wasn't he, as though that he'd run out of stamina and sort of zest for the fight. He'd thrown everything he could at Watson, and there it is now. That's a good sign to see that two fellas that have had a war like that have managed to create a little armistice at the end of it. That's good news. Well, I tell you, I've been around some ringsides in America and everywhere, but this is getting ridiculous in the ring there now. There's a lot of shoving and pushing going on. They all want to get to Michael Watson and slap his back. There's no actual violence, it's just exuberance. And security people in the evening dress there are really having trouble keeping the fans away. So this man, Michael Watson, world number 3, he now could be ready to fight Mike McCallum for the WBA Championship. Well, Mickey Duff said if my man gets over the first few rounds, he's going to win the fight. He's one of the shrewdest judges in the game. He's been around a long time.
Please clear the ring. Can you please clear the ring?
I didn't say it. Be quiet, Michael, and just explain what happened from your point of view in there.
Well, I had to dictate the pace from the first round. I knew Nigel was going to fight first half earlier on in the round. So the main object was to keep my composure.
When did you know that you had him beaten?
Well, in the third round. Of course,
As early as that?
Yeah. I knew that would come forward to me. But what I had to do was use the left hand, open up the left hand, everything would fall from there. Everything turned out fine.
We were wondering if he was kidding at all when you were hitting him. Was that kidology, or did you think it was really hurt?
I didn't think so. I was catching some good shots. You know, I was punching with a bad intention. You know, I'm glad for everything. You know?
But listen, all along you've kept so calm and so cool about the whole thing. You proved a lot of people wrong tonight.
I must give credit to Nigel Benn, right, because he promoted the fight very well. You know, he gave me one of my hardest fights so far. You know, he was very strong. I've got some solid shots.
You've given us all on ITV great entertainment. Very well done. We're going to take a break. You deserve one as well.
Right.
Come here.
Welcome back to ringside. As you can imagine, the scenes here quite chaotic. Something of a turn-up for the books there anyway, Jim.
Yeah, what a great fight it was, but Watson was the one who went in with a fight plan. He knew what was required. He had to keep tight. He took no chances. Even when he had Ben on the verge of knockout, he still took no chances, kept covered up nice and tight. Got a tremendous performance from Watson, but at the same time, my estimation of Nigel Benn has risen to as a great performance from the former champion.
Well, certainly was expected that he'd win the early rounds, which of course he did, Nigel Benn. But he traded power for power, Watson, and he had greater power.
Yeah, well, Watson did the right thing. I think if he'd backed off from Ben, some of these wide swings would have caught him and put him in trouble. He knew he was safer keeping close, but he could see the punches coming, he could smother the punches, and the longer the fight went, everybody knew the better chance Watson had. He smothered Ben's best work, then when the time was right, he raised the pace himself.
So, Jim, you have a tremendous respect for Nigel Benn, but just where does this put Michael Watson in world terms?
Well, he's right on the verge. I mean, that was virtually a final eliminator. We have a number 3 and a number 4, and the winner can step straight in to a world title fight. All the champions, we've got so many champions at the moment, but they're all desperate for creditable champions. Michael Watson is definitely that. He's in the big money now.
Meanwhile, has made less fuss of reaching the world's top 5, and last night soaked up the inevitable Ben onslaught before stopping his arch-rival in the 6th round. Well, I'm delighted to be joined by the new Commonwealth champion and his manager, Mickey Duff, plus the trophy. I didn't realize you actually got a trophy for this. Now, I know you planned very carefully to win this fight, but in your wildest imagination, did you actually think you would put him out in the 6th round?
Well, there's a lot of people saying that I didn't have the punch to take Ben out. You know, I had all the critics telling me this and telling me that. But I knew what I was capable of doing. You know, I knew I had a punch. And
yeah, I spoke to you the other day, and I got the impression that you weren't at all perturbed by the fact that Ben had all the publicity, and relatively speaking, you had none.
yeah. Well, considering that I've been in the game longer than Ben, and I've fought better opponents, you know, Nigel Benn has been on the scene for only about 2 years, and all of a sudden he's drawn so much attention. And that did really bug me for a certain time.
It's a bit like the tortoise and the hare, Mickey, isn't it? You know, up there, Ben out in front, then suddenly this man quietly comes along.
Yes, well, Ben is a spectacular, explosive type of fighter, very mouthy, self-opinionated, and a showman, and he caught the public's imagination. Plus, they gave him the kind of hype that goes with being popular early, but then you've got to be good enough to justify it.
I get the impression you didn't like this kind of dark Avenger thing. You know, you felt it didn't give boxing quite
I
the
don't
image.
like the Dark Destroyer. I don't like I'm bad. The answer Michael said all the time was, you may be bad, but I'm good. There's nothing good in being bad.
Michael, did you plan for a long fight?
Not necessarily, no. You know, because I knew I had a punch. And I knew that the way Nigel Benn was going to come out for me, he would have been walking straight onto my punches.
And yet, during the fight, you made, in terms of technique, you made obviously a formidable barrier of your fists up there. You were obviously worried about the haymaker.
Well, Nigel Benn's known for his big punching, you know, and I had to work on my defence because he loved to hit on the top of the head, and I thought to myself, well, my main objective is to work on my defence and then punch himself out.
How realistic, Mickey, do we view the chances of a world title fight?
Very realistic. You know, Mike McCullum won the world title on a promotion of mine here in London, and I obtained 2 options on his services, so that's not a bad start. We now have to agree for him to fight Michael Watson, but I am confident he will be named as the #1 official challenger by the World Boxing Association. And under the terms of the contract and the rules, McCullum, having won a vacant title, has to meet the #1 challenger in his next defence. So I'm pretty sure that come October, November of this year, Michael Watson will be fighting for the title.
Michael, what more can you do? Can you improve? I got the impression watching you the gym that, you know, you're dedicated, very professional, but can you improve your performance even yet?
I can improve all according to who I'm fighting. You know, there's no limits to what I can do.
In a word, is he right in saying that, Mickey?
Yes, very much so. I think he's only a lad, and he hasn't had any tough fights, and that's been calculated, and now he's ready to step up.
Mickey and Michael, thank you very much indeed.
Was itself surprisingly destroyed last night. The flamboyant Ben was odds-on favourite to retain the Commonwealth middleweight title against the quiet-spoken, publicity-shy Michael Watson, whose chances almost nobody rated. But all that changed in the 6th round when Watson unleashed a series of deadly punches that put Ben on his back. Earlier, Nigel Benn and his manager Ambrose Mendy joined me here in the News at One studio, and I began by asking Nigel Benn what went wrong. This is what he said.
I thought it would go my way, but yesterday it didn't.
What kind of man is Michael Watson?
Michael Watson, he's a very, very talented boxer where a lot of people don't, you know, show him that respect, but he's a very good boxer. He stuck to his game plan. I didn't, and he became Commonwealth champion.
Well, let's have a look at that game plan.
Okay.
We've got a clip here. The first time you seem to be in serious trouble in the 6th. You're the one with your back to us there. Let's have a look.
Stage here now. It looks as though it's going to be a grueling slog now. Which one's going to be first to go?
Oh, perfect punch.
He's got caught in the eye there.
Punch, but if he does not go in, the referee will have to stop this fight, Reg. There was nothing wrong with that punch.
Now, you didn't go down there, but you turned away and held your eye. What happened?
Well, that's what happened. I got thumbed in the eye. It was accidental, you know. It wasn't. He didn't really mean to do it. Michael Michael's a professional. He didn't go to thumb me in the eye. Just caught me in the eye, and I couldn't really see a thing.
Well, let's have a look at the end of the fight now when you really are in a bit of trouble. Let's
Yeah.
have a look at that.
Oh, he's gone. So, the big hitter has been hit in the 6th round. And
You're clearly hurt there, aren't you?
I think exhausted. You know, and...
But only 6 rounds, exhausted in 6?
Yeah, because, see, the thing is with me, it was like, it was hot there the night I was fighting, and plus all the adrenaline, everything was like just burning up, and every punch I was throwing with so much ferocity in there, and you can't go like 12 rounds throwing like, you know, wild punches.
And the plan now, of course, is for Nigel to take a long rest. Long by his standards, he'll probably just wander away now with his wife and his children, enjoying himself, and get back into the gymnasium maybe in 6-8 weeks' time. And we look forward to a September